So thank you very much for being here. I know it's the third day of our beautiful conference and it's after lunch. So I try to do my best to attract your attention. So I would like to talk to you today about my own and many family members' recovery path. My own one started in 2018, 3 years after my middle son, was hospitalized in emergency for acute psychosis at the age of 21. Anxiety, insomnia, attention disorder, hyperactivity were my daily companions at this time. Thanks to EUFAMI and EUFAMI, I participated in Paris in a training program called Prospect, which was a major step toward my own recovery, to such extent that I decided to become a Prospect facilitator, maybe to get each time a new boost that would help me move forward along this recovery path, but also to give the same opportunity to other families. And because I'm a great believer in European creativity, I don't forget that, general elections in Europe at the moment, I would like to introduce you to the origins and dissemination of this program in Europe, which has been designed by EUFAMI 20 years ago, and to show you the most positive impacts it has on families. So Prospect program was inspired by a book written by Ken Alexander, an Australian doctor and father of a children with schizophrenia. His book, called Understanding and Coping with Schizophrenia, was published in 1991. The author lists 14 principles he presented at EUFAMI seminar a long time ago in 1998 in Ireland. You can see them on this slide. So let me quote my three favorite principles that deal for any serious mental illness. It doesn't matter whether it's schizophrenia or anything else. For me, it's number 2, get informed. For me, what's very, very important to get information on what is a mental health disease, on more or less known origins and the symptoms. And also to try and get to understand the psychiatric organizations of care, which is completely ununderstandable when you are projected into this world, when one of your children or loved ones is afflicted by this kind of disease. Then, to me, number 7, escape the inner pressure by building on your best side. For me, it was look for community support and get involved. And number 9, avoid self-sacrificing. So I did socialize, I did sport, and continue my favorite reading. So EUFAMI's member associations decided to build up a training program after these principles to improve the quality of life of their member families, inspired by those 14 principles, but valid for all serious mental diseases, as I said. So let me quote Begonia Arellano, which was president of EUFAMI at this time, was from a Spanish lady from Spain. I realized that it was time to become independent and to make a difference by proactively responding to mental health issues in my own family. So the Prospect program has been a European collective work since 1998. 16 family associations, all members of EUFAMI from 11 countries, wrote the Prospect education program between 2001 and 2004. They were helped by an association of psychiatrists, the Royal College of Psychiatrists in the UK, and a team for Sahlgrenska University Hospitals in Göteborg, Sweden. A total of 40 people were involved, primarily members of the EUFAMI board. Funding was provided by the European Commission through the Leonardo da Vinci program within the framework of lifelong learning. Private funds and the own funds of the partner association completed the funding. EUFAMI called the program Prospect easy to pronounce in all European languages, it has become a brand name with its own logo, as you can see it on the slide. In English, prospect refers to the possibility that something good will happen in the future. The training programs refers to this happy possibility. Indeed, our family history, even though it is affected by a serious mental illness, can change in a positive way. The full name Prospect Training Program combines hope with practice, two fundamental principles of peer support. On this slide, you will find the 10 modules of the Prospect program. Each module lasts 2 hours and follows a specific pattern. Countries implement it once a week, 2 hours over 10 weeks if they want, or over 3 days in a seminar format, or over 2 consecutive weekends in a 2-day plus 1-day format, or combine evening with full days. Each organization does it the way which suits the participants best and their own organization. But these 10 models are oriented towards change and the desire for well-being. I have symbolized this movement with this upward arrow. The families who sign up for Prospect are all motivated by this desire to change their posture by doing things differently in order to cope with their loved one's mental health issues in a long-term perspective. The first 2 modules immediately establish the program as a peer-to-peer program. As is module 1, getting to know each other, all allows participants to identify themselves as peers. In the group, we are all in the same situation of caring for loved ones affected by a serious mental illness, even if the family situations and psychiatric symptoms are different. Diagnosis is not considered as being important. Module 2 is what we have learned about our loved ones' mental health problems, brings together what we know. It is not about what we have read in books, on websites, or heard at conferences, or even symposiums, however informative they may be. It is about sharing what we have learned through observation of our loved ones. It is a true experiential knowledge. All the following modules are no longer focused on our loved ones and their disorders. It was done at the beginning in this module 2. I know it is very hard, believe me, to stop focusing on your loved ones, but it's focused on ourselves. From module 3 to module 5, we focus on how much this disease makes us suffer, and all the pressure, all the stress, all our pain, and even our grief. And from module 6, we start building up on our abilities, on what we have within us and beside us to care for our loved ones in an adjusted way over time. And also, which is very important and the most important aspect of Prospect, to get to care about ourselves. And by setting objectives for changes in our attitude. And you have on this slide, you also have the manual, which has been newly been upgraded of the family and friends models. So it's a thick book that can be translated into any languages and then be implemented in any country. EUFAMI provides its 27-member association with the Prospect program if they want, but 5 countries are most active and were the pioneers in the 2000, over the millennium period. It's Spain, Finland, France, Slovenia, and Sweden. The first country by the number of sessions which are being organized is France, which organizes an average of 50 sessions of 10 people per year. Last year, it organized 48 sessions for 480 informal caregivers. However, when compared to the size of population, the actions of other countries are also very important. The program is delivered by trained family members who are all volunteers, but there are costs linked to the implementation of the program. So family organizations develop an advocacy work to get funding, which is and this funding is most of the time public. I don't know how it's organized for each country, and it would be maybe a bit boring to talk at length about it, but I chose to talk to you about the country I know best, of course, France. And this is how we organize it. The funding is provided by a national public agency, which is called CNSA. You see the logo. It's an agency that is dedicated to help helpers. It was first established to help families deal with neurodegenerative disease or handicapped children, but thanks to EUFAMI's powerful advocacy work, it has now become very active in supporting programs designed for family caregivers of people with mental health issues. So you can see how the costs are covered. It's very strict. So you have money. You can get money back you need to have a meeting room, the coffee breaks, lunch, very important in France. You need to take time for lunch. Housing, because sometimes people are coming by car or train and there's a long way to go, so they're going to be housed in hotels. Facilitators housing, it's a bit higher. I don't know why. Maybe we need to feel comfortable because it's hard work to facilitate during 20 hours. Office, all the copies needs to be handed out for participants. And extra meals, if facilitators can have extra meals because they have to get together before and after. Anyway, this is very much France, which is a centralized country, because you can imagine that in Paris, for instance, meeting a room for 3 days for 250 euros is just a good joke. So we manage in our chapter I'm responsible of to have free rooms lent by friend associations, other associations. Our own office is too small. So now to the update, because from 2020 to 2022, thanks to a special funding obtained by EUFAMI, the program has been revised and updated, and each involved country contributed. Well, it happened right during the pandemic, which was not not a good news at all, and we had not foreseen it, of course, but we coped as well as we could, and as all family members were very resilient. So as you can see on these slides, we had many Zoom meetings, and we had also meetings with masks, which were inescapable. We managed to set up a few ones. So how did each country contribute? So Finland adapted all the models in e-learnings to continue to train families during the pandemic and even afterwards, because it's a very long country, so sometimes it's easier to try and get people together through Zoom and Visio. Spain particularly emphasized Ken Alexander's 14th principle, take care of yourself, and designed a toolkit to be given to participants at the end of the program to improve self-care. In France, we share the experience of implementing the program on a large scale, and we also set up a post-prospect one-day session that takes place between 4 and 6 months after the principal session, the main session, to try and get a feedback of the impact on the program from the participant, and to continue the training of how I'm going to take care of myself. And second part, which is very important, how I'm going to set limits to my loved ones, not to get completely overwhelmed by the mental health issues. A country willing to start was also associated to this revision. It was the Czech Republic. The idea was to avoid the drift or the complexity of prospect, which must remain a peer tool that is simple to implement for any country any organization that has the wish to implement it. The second part of the revision is the development and dissemination of prospects in Europe. There's an increased communication of the tools to the member associations of EUFAMI, and there's also a digitalization of the data by the design of a multilingual digital platform, which is being developed at the moment. A systematic common evaluation system for country is also on its way. This would be a major step forward if we could have international indicators that would be the same for all countries, which is not the case at the moment, unfortunately. So in 2023, luckily the pandemic was over, and we managed to get together to speak and to enjoy meeting and to try and taste this new adapted program. So we gathered in Madrid. There were 58, I say we were because I was there, obviously, 58 facilitators from 12 countries. And we share our difficulties and also our best practice. The meeting had also a great impact on the countries willing to start implementing the program. Facilitators from pioneer countries, and I was one of them, like Spain, Finland, and France, Slovenia, we gave a tasting of some models, and we offered help to discuss their questions and anticipate any difficulty. AI app was very useful to try and get simultaneous translation, very much used for those who were not comfortable with English. But more or less, we all became a laughing bunch of language interpreters within a day. As you know, translation is, as one says, is the common European main language. So countries came, so people came from, as you say, not only from the pioneers countries, but also from Belgium, Croatia, Greece, Hungary, Italy. Yes, these are our, and the pioneer countries were there, of course, Finland, France, Slovenia, and Spain, and Sweden. So we have 18 years of impact between 2005 and 2023. Unfortunately, and this is again something that should be done and will be done quickly, we don't collect, EUFAMI doesn't collect data from all countries. But I managed to collect data for 2023, and I asked Gwen, who is the outstanding prospect manager for EUFAMI, and she's been in charge for 3 years of implementing and updating the program. I asked her to collect data from different countries, and here are the numbers. I've tried to measure the global impact by applying a coefficient we use at EUFAMI to estimate the indirect beneficiaries. So what we usually say that indirect beneficiary are, for this program, is the PLE person, obviously, person with little experience, plus half of a family caregivers, because we assume that usually for one person suffering from mental health issues, there's one main caregiver and the other one doesn't do as much. So it's weird, it's statistic, but it's the way we do to try not to outnumber everything, to sound honest. So you find within a year an impact which is quite interesting. So over 2,819 people and over 1,000 people in 2023 who got the training. I have asked Sophie, who is the head of the training department at EUFAMI, to give me some longitudinal data, and here are the results. At EUFAMI, we have 18 years of impact. We organized 732 three-day sessions. So that means 7,400 participants, and we have 63 facilitators now at this time, because there are ongoing people who quit and another one who wants to start being facilitators. So why this big number? which is quite good, I think. It's because EUFAMI decided to turn Prospect into its flagship program for families. Why? For a practical reason, first, because in 2005, there was virtually hardly anything that was done for families within the psychiatric unit. So don't wait for psychiatric units to implement psychoeducation program for family, start now. And strategically, it's also very important because it showed that a peer-to-peer approach without any mental health professional values the expertise by experience. It is empowering for family and it speeds up the recovery process of families. Now I would like to give you some feedback of the positive impact of program on participants. So it's a qualitative interview we collected. I have chosen to share Annika's story with you. So Annika is married with 2 children. Her mother and her sister both suffer from a severe mental illness. So what she says is, as you can see on the slide, before Prospect, I have no life. After Prospect, I demanded to have my own life. Before Prospect, I'm always on the phone. That means answering sister and mother who always try and call them on the phone. And after Prospect, I say limits. It's okay for you to call me, but not anytime and all the time. I do everything to help my mother and my sister. And after Prospect, I have found a balance in my life. Before Prospect, I tried to be the solution to all their problems. After Prospect, I'm happier, and I was even able to have another child to fill my space while not completely overwhelmed. So when we say that families feel empowered with this program, what kind of power are we talking about? Simon Gestrop is a member of Prospect Scientific Evaluation Committee. He's used to be a psychologist at Bradford University in England. And he presented during a webinar organized by EUFAMI in 2021, some reflection on this notion of power. He said the gain in power obtained through the Prospect program is not a power involving a relationship of domination over the other. In our case, over other families, or other mental health professionals, or over a loved one. This type of power always provokes passive or active resistance. Prospect is much rather an inner power that refers to the affirmation of oneself through individual choices. These choices express the power to find creative solutions to our own issues, and also the power that is in association with others. So as you see on this little infographics, so from inner power, you can become creative to do things and do things with others as well. So to illustrate that, the successive gains in power, I have chosen to present the itinerary of Ido Belak, who has facilitated more than 45 Prospect sessions in his own country, in Slovenia. Ido is a widower and the father of a son with a psychosis. He describes his own benefit as a peer helper. So, as he said, I got a better understanding of mental illness and also of my son's problem. I become aware of the risk of merging with my son. Prospect increased my compassion for other families, especially in relation to the sense of loss. It gave me a spiritual growth. I got involved in advocacy on behalf of people with mental illness placed in closed wards in hospitals in Slovenia. And I became ambassador of an EU-supported Slovenian anti-stigma project. So as you see, the dynamic of empowerment fostered by the Prospect Family Peer Help Program have gone beyond the family to become a civic issue. Family peer support gives also social and political power power towards common goals. There's other way of becoming empowered. It's through creative, if you have through creative writing, if you have some skills in this domain. It happened to one prospect participant who's called Sibylle from France. And Sibylle decided to write a play after she participated into a prospect training session. I was one of the facilitators in this session in Paris, and I must say, I would never have thought that this session would produce such a beautiful artistic project, and I'm very thankful to Sibylle and her family for doing so. So Sibylle explained, I started writing one scene, and the rest followed quickly. My husband, you can see it on his slide, Rémi, and daughter read the text and told me to continue. Then my stepdaughter, which you see here, Juliette, who is a stage director and an actress, helped me turn the story into a play she decided to stage. That's how the main characters of the play, Morrigan, the mother, and Gabriel, the son with mental health issues, came into life. So the play is called Behind the Fog, and it is the story of the struggle of the mother, a wife, an employee, who would never have dreamed of this extraordinary life. Faced with her son's difficulties, she found herself and her family thrown into the world of psychiatric and addiction. The public is anyone interested in mental health issues, people living with their own disorders, family members, organizations, and healthcare professionals, but also anyone concerned about the place of women in the family and their own mental burden. The show will last 1 hour 30 with 4 actors. This is a very simple setting with curtains and projection. Music and painting for the settings will be created by Ulysse, who is Sibylle's son, and has mental health issue and is also an artist, a painter and a musician. The painting you saw before, illustration you saw before, are his own paintings. So the play is due to be performed this month in Paris and during the Mental Health Week and month in October. Well, if you want to know more about it, let me know. If you want to come to Paris, please come along and go and see this play. I'm going to play a little bit teaser that has been set up by Juliette, the stage director. I hope it's going to work. You see, it's a very simple, because otherwise it would be too expensive. So there's an actor who plays 2 roles, so don't get confused. It's in French, but I thought of you, and there are English subtitles for all you who can't understand French. So I hope it's working, because I need to click on a link. I couldn't download the video. It doesn't belong to me. So we'll see. Let's try. Okay, yes, it's right. So let's go.
Gabriel, c'est l'heure. N'oublie pas ton rendez-vous. Bonjour, je m'appelle Morrigan. Je suis architecte et maman de 3 enfants. Un fils de 25, une fille de 20 et une petite fille de 4 ans avec mon nouveau mari. Mon fils est bipolaire. Enfin, il a une bipolarité. Il se drogue et travaille comme artiste peintre.
T'es toujours inquiète de toute façon. Je vais bien. J'ai plein de projets créatifs en ce moment. Laisse-moi peindre. Je veux peindre et faire de la musique.
Tu te rappelles? Gabriel. Nom de l'ange. Et ça a dérapé. On ne sait plus quand.
Ce soir, je suis super chaud pour sortir.
Gabriel, t'es en arrêt maladie, ça sert à rien d'aller te balader dehors.
Non mais ça fait 3 jours que je suis à la maison et que je dors. J'ai d'ailleurs dormi quasiment 72 heures. Je me suis suffisamment reposé. J'ai besoin de sortir.
Gabriel, tu sors pas ce soir.
Non mais t'es qui pour m'interdire de sortir?
Gabriel, écoute ta mère.
Et toi, t'as rien à me dire, t'es pas mon père. Je fais ce que je veux, je suis grand.
Gabriel, c'est un enfant solaire avec des fêlures et aussi une gentillesse folle. Il souffre d'être différent. Je l'aime. Un point, c'est tout. Et il nous aime aussi.
Franchement, je ne te comprends pas. Tu as tout pour toi, et tu es en train de tout foutre en l'air. Tu es peintre, musicien, cuisinier, et tout le monde adore ce que tu fais. Tout ce que tu touches, tu en fais quelque chose d'exceptionnel. Putain, mais quel gâchis. Je vais te dire, la plus grande chance que tu as, c'est d'avoir le soutien inconditionnel de ta mère. Mais je ne sais pas si tu te rends compte. Tu es en train de l'user jusqu'à la moelle. Elle n'en peut plus, elle ne dort plus. Elle est sur le point d'imploser.
Non. Non, j'ai pas passé un bon week-end, non. J'ai super mal dormi dans la salle d'attente des urgences parce que les fauteuils en plastique, ils sont pas confortables du tout.
Allô, oui. Bonjour, monsieur. Mon frère est apparemment bipolaire. Ma mère se dépatouille comme elle peut dans tout ça, mais là, je pense qu'elle a besoin d'aide.
Si tu perds pied, on sera tous foutus. Nikita, Lily et moi.
Faudrait être joyeuse tous les matins au boulot, avoir l'air pas trop vieille, être cool, être vegan le mardi si possible.
Bonjour à tous et bienvenue. Je suis Virgile. Je fais partie d'un réseau de formateurs au sein de l'UNAFAM. Nous sommes environ 40 à proposer ce type de séance aux familles et aux proches. Voyez plutôt cette formation comme un atelier d'entraide.
Nous pouvions parler sans honte et sans culpabilité car nous étions tous dans le même bateau. Nous avions tous le même objectif pour nos proches. Le rétablissement.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Élise, je suis maman de...
Bonjour, je m'appelle Paul, mon frère est...
Bonjour, je suis Chloé, je suis la sœur de...
Bonjour, je m'appelle Thomas, je suis le mari de...
Bonjour, je m'appelle David et
Bonjour,
cousin
je suis
est-
Léa, ma mère est...
Bonjour, je m'appelle Charles, mon ami
Bonjour,
est...
je suis Patricia, ma fille.
Bonjour.
Bonjour,
je m'appelle...
Bonjour,
Je suis maman.
Je suis le mari
Frère
je
est...
suis la
Bonjour,
sœur de...
nous sommes parents, proches, amis de... Vous êtes parents, proches, amis de... Vous et nous, l'espoir, derrière le brouillard.
Yes, I agree. It's a great, I think it's going to be really a great play. I'm quite enthusiastic when I saw I saw this trailer. So, help, technical help. How do I go back to my, okay, yes, it's here. So last slide, as you see, so creativity, resilience of parents, it's very important. And also, Prospect is best known for its family and friends training program, but actually 4 programs have been created under the Prospect label and are intended to be run in parallel with the same principle of peer support for each group. The program for family and friends, the program for people with self-experience, and the program for health and social care professionals. These programs, implemented simultaneously, lead to a common ground model that lasts 1.5 days, gathering participants for the 3 previous groups. They focus on ways to improve communications between those 3 groups throughout the care process to foster an alliance between them. The 3 programs have just been upgraded in the last 2 years and will be officially published during EUFAMI Congress, which is going to take place in 2 weeks in Vilnius, Lithuania. Spain, from the origin, has been always very active into implementing these 3 programs together. So as you see, Prospect, which has been initiated by an association of families, is the bearer of a dynamic of change that impacts all the actors of mental health, all the stakeholders, for the benefit of all users, families, and professionals. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm ready to answer any question.